Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. You know, the biggest benefit out there for veterans is not your VA home loan, is not your ability to go to school or anything like that. Your biggest benefit is your ability to file for VA disability compensation. Sadly, more than 70% of veterans do not take advantage of this outstanding benefit that they got because of their service. And I will tell you that of the 70% that are not utilizing the VA for disability compensation, there's probably a good 50% of those that would qualify for something. Then all of the residual additional benefits that come after that, right? So if you're a 20%, 30%, 40, 50%, what have you, keeps going, different benefits open up for you. New benefits, new veteran benefits open up for you, whether it's your state or other federal benefits, employment opportunities with veteran preference because you hit certain thresholds. There are so many things beyond the monetary monthly payment, which, by the way, is pretty outstanding. When you talk about getting an additional $300, $500, $800, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 per month, helps to offset those expenses, right? Hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. It really helps to push this information out. And again, sadly, there's many vets that aren't even going to see this video, sadly, again. And it's my kind of goal, I guess, is for us as the collective to help get the word out. What I hate to see is people that don't understand that it is a benefit that they've earned simply by serving in the United States military. Many of us who get out were never really told that much about it. I mean, you're told about the VA, and you're primarily told about school, whether it's Montgomery GI Bill or a post 9/11 GI Bill, and how great that is, and that's a benefit, and your home loan. And that's really all that you're ever told about. Nobody really talks about the fact you can file for VA disability compensation. And when you think about it, there's so many, I guess, mischaracterized statements and words, and we kind of create our own definitions. And I'll tell you, the VA's definitions are not quite the same as our definitions that we end up putting or imposing ourselves. And then we self-segregate out of being able to, quote unquote, qualify for disability compensation. The first one is really the word disability. Many of us think, okay, well, disability, well, I am not in a wheelchair and I got all my limbs and I can walk to and fro and, I have a job. I'm save that for, the Joe or Jane that was rolling in the convoy and got hit by the IED, right? That's for them, VA disability compensation. And that is wrong. That's a falsehood, right? That is something that I wish would get diminished a little bit. The reality is the way that the VA system works is they look at any diagnosable condition, and if it resulted during your service, right, not because of your service, but if it manifested during your time in service or is the result of your service, so it's kind of an either or type of a thing, then you could quite possibly qualify, most likely, for VA disability compensation. Now, this could be things like migraine headaches, esophageal reflux disease, GERD, bad heartburn, right? Tinnitus, ringing in the ear, arthritis, back issues, lumbar strain, degenerative disc disease, plantar fasciitis, right? Razor bumps, whatever the medical term is. I always screw it up, so we'll just razor bumps, right? So all of these things, motor tics, right? The twitch, you got a little twitch in the eye or what happened, or what have you. Motor tics. All of these things are able to get service connected. Sleep apnea, right? So, I mean, the list goes on and on. The main thing is that the VA is looking for is that it is chronic in nature or has some sort of residual effects, meaning that it's an ongoing issue. It wasn't just it happened once and then it went away. So you, as the veteran, need to open up the mind a little bit and go, okay, what can I look at that may have manifested or is a result of my service? Now, in addition, we also have what's called secondary conditions. Secondary conditions are things that are a result due to your service-connected conditions. So your bad back that maybe you were hauling around mortars, or you were a mechanic all hunched over all the time, and now you got this jacked up back, right? So you might get diagnosed for something, some sort of a back issue, and you get rated for that. But then a couple years go by, a few years, however many, and now you're not sleeping well because your back condition's getting worse. Well, now you can file for insomnia as a secondary condition to the back pain because the pain of your back is keeping you up. Or maybe you develop arthritis, or maybe now you have some nerve issues happening and you have some radiculopathy, numbness and tingling going down your legs, right? So there's all kinds of different things. One of the CMP doctors that I had seen once was mentioning secondary conditions, and they may result, fairly soon after, or it might take many years. And one of the things that he had mentioned was, people with bad backs or leg issues, when you go to get out of a chair, right, you push with your arms, right, to get out of the chair. And when you do that, you're really working those elbows and shoulders, and eventually those may go as you age, right? You could have some arm issues, shoulder, elbow, wrists, could have issues there that develop because of the constant pushing out of chairs. That would become a secondary condition of a service-related leg or back issue. So keep your mind open for those things. Another thing that really kind of bothers me with how we look at whether we qualify or don't qualify is on the percentage, we'll call it a matrix, or scale, the percentage scale that the VA uses, right? 0 to 100%. And many veterans will look at that and go, okay, well, I shouldn't be 100% because 100% should be reserved for the worst case situations. I mean, the person that you don't want to be is the person that's at 100%, right? And that's just, that's the nature of what that sounds like. I mean, if 100% is the maximum, then, I got to be maximally bad in order to get to 100%. The reality is that there is another rating schedule called special monthly compensation, and it can pay out 3 times or what have you that of the 0 to 100%, and that is more reserved for the more life-altering conditions that veterans can face. Okay, they will be on the special monthly compensation scale or schedule. The 0 to 100%, right, even with VA funny math to get you higher ratings, is kind of the catch-all for everybody. Now, you don't need to be a combat veteran. You just simply need to have served in the military, and you don't have a dishonorable type of a discharge. And you can file for these different conditions. So 100%, many of us, before we start to educate ourselves, look at the 100% rating as, okay, it should be reserved for the worst case situations. And now I meet somebody who is 100% and they're walking around, they're going to the grocery store, they're riding a bike or whatever. That person should not be 100%, we think to ourselves, and we might even tell a friend. And then we start to even think into it more and go, they probably worked the system, and that's messed up, and they probably lied. And I'll tell you that it's not the case. I mean, well, who knows on that case, right? You can't call them all. But the reality is that you could have some large conditions that can get you to 100%, and you could look totally normal and fine, right? A few examples of some high-rated conditions that you could get the maximum rating for would be, well, PTSD or any real mental health conditions could be rated at 100% by themselves. So we'll get that one out of the way. Now, barring that one, let's look into it. You could have sleep apnea with a CPAP machine at 50%. You could have migraines at the maximum level at 50%. You could have gastroesophageal reflux disease, GERD, maximum at 60%. You could have, let's say a back condition that's low, right? The back condition itself, the nucleus of it all, is a 10 or a 20%, but that back issue then caused arthritis that you have a 40% for, and you got insomnia and you have 30% for that, and then you got 10% for each leg for radiculopathy. So very quickly you can start to add up these types of conditions that will take you to the 100% rating, and you're not missing limbs and you're not bedridden, right? So the 100% rating is attainable by somebody who is not disabled in our own kind of weird definition of it, right? So I wish that the VA would come up with a different name other than disability compensation, but it is what it is. So I just wanted to shed a little light on it for you. I appreciate you watching. Thank you so much. Have a great one, and remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.